Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be having a bit of a mid-month review, looking at sales, looking at what I'm doing with Amazon ads at the moment, and then I'm going to go on and explain to you about bleed and no bleed, which a lot of people ask me questions about and can be quite confusing what settings to put in the KDP dashboard. Now, my name's Marles and I do videos on how to make it, keep it and grow it, and that's your money I'm talking about. If you like videos like that, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and also smash that notification bell to receive notification of when I do more videos like this. And also, if you do like it, give it a thumbs up. It's very much appreciated. So let's look at this month's sales up to now, and that's mainly up to the 13th. Now, I've noticed that overall there's been an increase in sales. We've had this one day here where I sold 102 books, and that's because someone bought 60 of one particular book. And you sometimes find this, and it's always a nice surprise to see that sudden spike in sales. But in terms of number of units, I think overall there'd be probably an average of around 50 sales per day, maybe just under. Now, I've noticed a lot more sales coming from Europe, coming from the UK, and also in particular Canada. And I have quite a lot of sports related books and journals, and I've noticed the sales of those starting to increase as well. And that might be because if there is an easing of lockdown or house arrest, and people might be starting to think about getting out and doing their sports and getting into training again. So hopefully that'll be a trend that will continue. Now, overall, I've made $1,091.29 in royalties, which is not bad because basically this is up to the end of the 13th of May. So we're not quite there, halfway through the month. So hopefully, based on this projection, I'd like to see maybe around $2,500 in royalties by the end of the month, if not a little bit more. Now, if we look at the sales of books, my bestseller continues to sell well and always ranks number one for its targeted keyword. Now, I've got 3 books here, this one, and this one that I'm currently running Amazon ads on. Now, each of those books is ranking in the top 5 for the main targeted keywords. So what I'm going to do is turn off the ads on those books and see how we go with just the organic sales and no ads running. And hopefully, because of their ranking, I will see maybe not quite this number of sales, but hopefully a decent number of sales. Now, knowing this business, it can be quite tough, and one of the toughest things is the people around you. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you can't do this, you can't earn money online. But my advice is don't let people tell you what you can and cannot do in this line of work in life, because what they're doing is projecting their own limiting beliefs on you. Now, this is a business that anyone can do, and there's many online businesses that people can do and can earn good money. So if that's something you want to do, then don't let other people stop you. Don't let other people's negativity affect how you run your life, how you want to earn money in life. So that's my little bit of advice for you today. So let's go to looking at bleed and no bleed. Now, when you're in the KDP dashboard, you come to this setting under print options and you have the options of no bleed and bleed. Now, this can be something that confuses a lot of people. And that is, when do you choose no bleed? When do you choose bleed? And what size pages should you have your interiors printed on when you're doing bleed? Now, before we get to that, just a quick note. When you're producing your cover, that always has bleed. Okay? Now, there is a website that I recommend. I'll put the link below. That's to bookout.com, where you put in the number of pages and the size of your book, and it will send you in PNG and I think also in PDF format a template for you to use, which includes, you know, the bleed and the allowance for the margin down the middle. And that's what I always use when I'm creating my covers. So let's go over to looking at no bleed and bleed. So when it comes to the bleed settings, you have two types of interiors. Those like this colouring book and line page where the content comes to the ends or the edges of the pages, and there you would tick bleed. Where in the other type the content doesn't come to the end of the pages, you would tick no bleed. Now, when you upload pages with bleed, you need to increase the size of your documents. Now, in this normal 6 by 9 inch page, we would need to increase the page size. So we would add 0.125 inches to the top, 0.125 inches to the bottom, and 0.125 inches to one margin. So our 6 by 9 inch page would be 6.125 by 9.125 inches. Now with no bleed, you need to make sure your content is within a margin as shown by this dark line here. And that's so that when the book is trimmed, your content inside the book isn't accidentally trimmed. Now with a book 24 to 150 pages long, you would need to have an inside margin of 0.375 inches and 0.25 inches on the top, side and bottom. Now if you do have bleed on your pages, you would need to add that additional 0.125 inches to the outside margins also. So I hope that clears up some of the confusion about bleed and no bleed. It's relatively straightforward once you get the hang of it. Below I'll also put a couple of links to the KDP Help Pages, which explains about the bleed sizes and the margin sizes dependent on the number of pages in your book. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Also make sure hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell, and until next time, goodbye.